content marketing in a nutshell. So most of you on this call know who I am, so I don't really want to bang on about it. Time's of essence, so let's get cracking with it. My name's Natalia Nicholson. Many of you know that I've been coaching for literally a couple of decades. I'm coach for Google Digital Garage. I founded my own e-commerce store and inspirational gifts where I sell candles. So I'm an Amazon seller. I have my own website with Shopify. I'm the founder of Women in Business, Women in Digital Business, which is a community that really exists to help underrepresented women. I've been featured in many, many different places. I'm an unremarkable gold facilitator. I've delivered sessions for the likes of Lloyd's TSB, Barking Enterprise Centre, Godiva, many non-profits where I have worked with businesses firsthand, coaching them through digitalization, digital marketing, and also done my fair share of corporate and business coaching. But I've walked this walk myself. I am not someone that's sitting here and is textbook. I've felt some pain. I've taken some lashes. So I quit my job about 17 years ago and I founded multiple businesses. My first made me bankrupt, which was my first e-commerce business back in 2003 when there was no Canva and Wix, to building my first successful business, which was a cleaning business that brought me to 7 figures when I sold it. So I've experienced a lot of costly mistakes. I know what it feels like to have money. I know what it feels like to have absolutely none. And if I was to be honest with you, it wasn't until about 6 years ago that I really had a shift in growth, just in terms of my income, my mindset, everything about me. And that was because I started working strategically. I stopped, having all these entrepreneurial ideas, trying to do 10 things at the same time. 1 minute it's reels, then it's podcasts, then I've got to learn about Facebook ads. And all you keep doing is just building half-built bridges. Even if you're at the start of your journey, having all these different ideas, but never actually starting something and falling into the procrastination, meaning when you don't see the results, you just feel like, oh, I'm going to start something new. So you have loads of half-built bridges. Not understanding how to really optimize your marketing efforts and your business efforts. If you don't know what's working, you're just going to keep trying different things and shooting in the dark. If you're measuring the matrix of how well you're doing, you will understand and know what to fix. We're in the digital world, so market intelligence is available all around you. This is not traditional marketing where you just have to advertise on TV and primetime shows and, think the sales are just going to fall in. There is so many channels, which means your audience is completely diluted, but you can measure how well or not so well you're doing to make sure that you can optimize and find out what you're not doing right and fix it. Okay, so you get to audit your assets and find out ways that they can work for you. Working strategically means you get to build a future-proof plan. You get to build a funnel and scale your revenue while withstanding, whether it's COVID, the recession. It's all about working strategically and making sure you're getting predictable sales. So I'm not going to go through the blurb of I've been here, that last slide, me in South Africa, me not doing well, me doing well. This is about you. This is about me showing you all the mistakes that I've made and all the opportunities that I've seen, and you to learn from them, so you're not falling into different communities, paying for different programs, going on different workshops, just going down loads of different routes and just never ever ever getting the information that you need to actually get ahead and get the results that you want. So content marketing, let's get back. So here's what we're going to cover today. I've just seen something in the chat, so this is a great time for me just to kind of see what that message said. Patricia, I am going to stop here. Anybody that's an avid reader, I read this book this year and it's amazing. It's called the book is Atomic Habits, and it's all about creating processes that stack on top of each other. It is definitely worth reading. I got it as an audio book and I was glued to it. Another book for ladies that are really busy and might have children, a house to run, is Miracle Morning. Another book that I always read as well every single January is Think Rich, Grow Rich. And that covered some of the stuff in Atomic Habits as well. Reading is key. Your mindset is key. But sorry, Patricia, thank you for that. That is an excellent book and I definitely recommend it. So what are we going to cover today? Today, we are going to cover determining your voice and your style. Some of you might have your brand guidelines put together. If you haven't, before even getting into content marketing and digital marketing strategies, you should have your brand guidelines put together. And your brand guidelines really are based around what promise are you making to your customer, and making sure that everything within that is consistent. So today we're going to touch on what we're going to look at voice and style, which is going to really help you because you might need to go back to your brand guidelines and make sure that they are correct. We're going to choose your content types. One of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to do loads of different things. There's so many platforms out there, even just the major ones: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it just Pinterest. It just keeps going on. Google SEO, organic SEO, blogs, content marketing, paid, organic. It can just keep going on and on and on. Podcasts, YouTube, vlogging. And those are just the main ones, never minding more, like your Reddits or other platforms out there. You need to choose your content type and you need to have no more than 3, because otherwise you will overwhelm yourself and you cannot do everything. When you're starting out in business, unless you've got a fully functioning team, you can't do all of that. And when you spread yourself thin, it just means that you can't do anything well. We're also going to look at how you're going to build out a content marketing plan, as content will consume you. And marketing is not the only function of your business. There's marketing, there's finance. For some of you, there's operations. There's many, there's building out the actual content, putting the product together. There's many different elements of your business. So putting together content and constantly release it, it's a lot of work. So you need to have a plan. And then we're going to talk about monetizing your content, because I don't just want you to just keep putting content out thinking, yeah, it will get more followers. What's the plan? How are you monetizing your content? How's it contributing to the monetization? How's it contributing to giving you a marketing budget so you're not having to put so much time and effort in? And lastly, we're going to look at KPIs, key performance indicators. You need to be clear about what your goals are. If you know what your goals are, you can measure how well you're doing in terms of your performance to reach those goals. So you can always make sure that you have a plan that's working for you. Else otherwise you'll fall into that shooting in the dark. I call it the gunshot approach. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at today. So part 1, let's determine your voice and your style. So finding your voice. The personality that consistently shines through your content via your writing style, your tone, your grammar, your choices. So this is where you should have a brand guideline put together. You should have a document that says who you are, what you stand for, and any suppliers that work for you, anybody that works in your business, anybody that's doing anything for you should be very, very clear about what you stand for as a business. And remember, your business is born out of you. All big brands around the world, be it Coca-Cola, Virgin, British Airways, Walmart, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, they were all born out of one individual. And actually, it was that personal brand that got ingrained into the business brand, and the business brand was built from that person. So I always say to people, when you're thinking about the personality of your business, it's born out of you. You're its mother, you're its father. So ask yourself, what makes you fascinating? And for your business, is your tone going to be authoritative? Is it going to be really understanding? Is it going to be sexy? Is it going to be controversial? Really understand what your brand stands for, but the tonality and in your content. Remember what I said to you, your content is how you're going to connect with people. So when you think about the laws of intimacy, think about it. You'll meet someone and you might have a handshake. You'll meet them a few more times. You might go, mwah, a French kiss. Oh, lovely to see you. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a work relationship, you will find over a period of time, within boundaries of what that relationship is, you will break down walls of intimacy. You will break down barriers. I don't like people stepping into my personal space, but as you get to know someone more and more and more, you'll let a garden layer down. And obviously that boundary will stop at a point, depending on what type of relationship it is. And when it comes to us meeting people or being attracted to people, you can see the more we build trust is the more you get closer and closer and closer to someone. So I want you to start thinking about your content and how you communicate with your customer, like how it is when you meet someone and get married. Okay? That's how I want you to look at it. I want you to think about the laws of intimacy, and I want you to put that into your writing. because it's what makes you you. It's what's going to make your content land and connect and get noticed. Without a strong voice, your content will never rise above the crowd. And that's what I want it to do. I want it to get noticed. So how to develop your brand voice. On the screen, you've actually got a picture of Ryan Dias, which is a really famous marketeer. So at Women in Digital Business, all the frameworks that I'm showing you are frameworks that I've had to learn the hard way, but they're frameworks that big organizations and big brands have been using for years. We educate ourselves with the likes of Digital Marketeer to make sure that we stay ahead of our game. So know that all the information that you get from Women in Digital Business, it's not things that I've just plucked out of the sky. But when you don't know, you don't know, which is why I've created this community. So when you look at Digital Marketeer's voice, it's very quirky, it's irrelevant, and sometimes it's a little bit sassy because it's very, very American. And that's pretty much the founder of it, Ryan Dias. So think about it, model it after someone at your company who models your brand values well. So when I say model it after someone at your company, this very much is for people that might work for someone else. Some of you are on here wanting to learn more about digital marketing and you're working for someone else. In that instance, think about, when you develop your brand's voice, who is the brand voice that you're developing? Is it the owner? Is it the CEO? Because obviously it's not going to be yours. If it is your business, you might think about, okay, what is it about me and my business that people like, and put that voice into some type of strategy. It could be that you want to create something that's nothing like you because your target audience isn't based on you. So think about the person that your target audience would listen to and they would like. I know you're getting the point. So pull inspiration from characters, other brands, books, and just practice. But make sure everything is congruent. That is really, really important, okay? You have to make sure with your brand, whether it's an email signature, whether it's a sales page, whether it's your website, regardless of what the content is, whether it's a sales letter for a video that you put together, it needs to be the same. It can't say something different, because otherwise you will confuse your end user. So quick exercise, I want you to think about some of your favorite brands related to your products and your service and try to describe that brand's voice. So think about your own brand. How would you describe your voice if you don't have one? And how would you like your voice to sound? This is really important. I told you we are connecting through a mobile phone, a laptop, a tablet. How are people going to be able to really connect with you? They have to understand your brand. They have to understand your tonality and voice. You are like the Piper here. So have a think about it. And like I said, this session will be available on YouTube for you to go back to. I want you to create a style guide. So a style guide is a living document that provides context, direction, and rules. And every writer at your company should follow in order to keep your brand voice consistent. So some of you may be copywriters, some of you as your business grows and you start it, or some of you that are in business and being trading might have a copywriter. You still need to be able to provide that style guide, because guess what? It's your business. Nobody is going to know what your brand stands for and who your customer and what the product offering is like you. It doesn't matter whether you can write or not. It doesn't matter whether you don't like doing videos. You have to have a style guide to make sure anybody that's doing anything with you is crystal clear on what you stand for, so it can come out in the content. So you need to have a living document that provides context, direction, and rules. Every writer at your company or who you outsource to should follow it in order to keep with your brand, to keep your brand's voice consistent. Okay, really, really important. I revise our brand guidelines like every 3 months. I'll get my team together and we actually have sessions called customer profiling, where we go and we will really look at who our customer is, what do they stand for, what do they like doing, and making sure that our brand marries up to that and it's connecting with them. So a style guide is key. So some of you might be thinking, okay, yeah, I get that, but what's in a style guide? So, grammar and punctuation rules. I'm in the UK. People in the UK are a stickler for grammar and spelling and not spelling words in an American way. So this is something that, we use an app called Grammarly, and we're very hot on making sure that English is UK English. Americans aren't really that bothered generally, but UKs do not like when American terminology or American grammar and spelling is used. It could be that you have double spacing after a period. It could be, your stance on the Oxford comma. It can be so many different things, okay? Your voice and style rules. We've gone through that. Is it okay to make jokes? Like, what's the tonality? Even what about swearing? We've got people like Gordon Ramsay in the UK. He's a famous chef, a famous international chef. Most of you would have heard about him. He swears like a trooper. Okay, that might not be appropriate for your audience or market sector, but for some strange unknown reason, it really seems to work for him. Wendy said, have to leave, but we'll see YouTube. No problem, Wendy. Great to have you here. Oh, I need to go back. So yeah, design guidelines. Every business has design guidelines. So, a use of visual aids, how to use your logo, not use your logo, your headlines, your subheadlines, what font are they going to be in, what size are they going to be, are they going to be bold, italics, underline, writing examples, what already written pieces can you show that model the voice and tone well. So especially when you're paying freelancers and you're outsourcing, you're getting what you want, and more importantly, it's landing with your customer. So part 2, let's look at the content types that there are. So there's so many different content types. And like I said, you should not be doing them all, but let's look at some of them. So we've got blogs, videos, podcasts, newsletters, infographics, case studies, white papers, guides, checklists, downloadable worksheets. And those are the main ones. I'm sure there's more. But what you want to do with all those is you really want to choose your topics. So your core topics relate directly to you and your customer. So I want you to really think again right now, okay, what are my core products? And within those core products, what are the topics around them? Make sense? And then think about related topics. So touch on topics that your customer will relate to, but may not directly relate to your offer. So what you need to do with content is think about the pains and challenges. I want you to write down, what are the pains and challenges of my customer? And those are the topics that you should be writing about. But even though your products and service solve the pain or challenge, you're not talking about the product or service yet. Make sense? Here we go. I've just been asked, what is the YouTube channel it will be posted to? So I'm just going to post it again. There we go. And make sure our email, hello@Women in Digital Business, you've saved it so it's not going into your junk, because you will get an alert that the video is there. And there's also some special links that I'm going to be giving out at the end. So make sure, for those of you that are moving on, make sure hello@Women in Digital Business, I'll type it in the chat, that our emails are not going into your junk box, because then you'll get the alerts. And we do, our content is 80% of value. It's all there to help you. 20% sales, and you need to follow that rule as well. So that's what I mean by touch on topics that your customer will relate to. You want to talk about their pains and challenges. You want them to understand that you understand them and you're relatable, because that's what's going to make them think, oh my gosh, who is this? They understand me, they get me. But you're not going to be selling. Okay, you're not going to be talking about your products of yet. So just for an example, digital marketers' core offering is buying digital marketing training for marketers. Their core topics are overarching market topics. Their related topics are more niche subtopics of digital marketing, like trends, general business, and knowledge. Okay, even for Women in Digital Business, our core offering is our membership site. Okay, core topics are digitalization of businesses and digital marketing. And our related topics are all the sub and niche topics around that, which could be TikTok, Instagram, how to do Facebook ads, what we're talking about today, content marketing, and all the different mediums of digital marketing that make up the discipline. So choose your topics, be very, very clear about them. Oh, sorry, guys. I can't see very well. There we go. So part 3, let's look at building out a content marketing plan. Okay, the goal of content marketing really is to drive awareness for your brand. It's to deliver value to your customers in advance, and it's to gain trust and credibility. Content marketing is all about, you positioning yourself as an authority. And that's something that we don't do enough. Many times when I'm working with businesses, especially women, I'll get, well, I don't really want to put myself out there. I don't like putting myself out there. First and foremost, to make yourself aware and your brand known, your brand's born out of you. And for you, if you get a trust and credibility, that gives people a reason to want to buy from you. Okay. The next thing you want to do with content marketing is really determine what are your keywords. So use research tools like Keywords Everywhere, SEM Rush. There's a free version only for 7 days, but SEM Rush is very powerful, by the way. You can literally go to your competitors. I'll go to someone that this is how I want my business to be, and see what keywords they're using for their organic SEO, for their AdWords, for their social media marketing, what works for them, what keywords their customers are clicking on the most. You can get some really detailed intelligence, which is really going to help you find your keywords by looking at their business, and also when you're launching campaigns, not make the same mistakes as your competitors, and also look for areas where they're not doing things as good as they could be and you do better. Okay. You could even go on to Amazon, and let's say your business is sustainable fashion. You might look at the books that people are reading in sustainable fashion. It's going to give you an idea of what keywords that they're using to type in when they want to find more about this topic. You could use Google Trends. Google Trends is a really, really great free tool where you can type the keywords in and see how many people are searching for that keyword. And then you can also do a comparisons table to rank one keyword against another. Ahrefs is another research tool that you can use. There are just so many, but a lot of them are free. But if you're going to start with one, I would suggest that you start with Google Trends, because it's absolutely free. And I would also, believe it or not, use Amazon. Like I said, people could easily be searching for what it is that you sell on a platform like Amazon and eBay, and you can see what keywords that they're using to search on. And these tools are completely free. You really want to build an editorial calendar. You want to document key information about your planned content. So you want to put together every day what content type. And like I said, you should have no more than 3. You shouldn't be doing blogs, podcasts, reels, white papers, webinars, the whole list we went through. You shouldn't be doing all of it. I wouldn't recommend you do any more than 3. And if you're starting off, I would actually go as far as suggesting 1, because otherwise you're going to consume yourself with this. And it's when you start the gunshot approach that as soon as something's not working and you're not getting the customers, you'll keep trying new things. It's called shiny object syndrome, and I want you to avoid that. You know, your content calendar, if you've got a whole load of keywords that you've put together, you want to be making sure you're covering those top keywords in your content by covering, you know, putting out and covering content that relates to your keyword list. Your post date, you can schedule. There's no need for you to have to post every day or do something every day. You can do it all in advance and be organized and be able to, you know, do other things in your day other than just posting content. Okay. URLs. URLs are absolutely key. What do I mean by URLs? You should have a URL every piece of your content, meaning you should have a call to action, a CTA. Are you pushing traffic to your website? Are you pushing traffic to a funnel page? Are you pushing traffic for someone to share, like, whatever it is, it's some type of URL, it's some type of button, and that should be on all your content. Also, your core offer. Every business has got a core offering. You've got a hero product or service that you're selling. Okay, so make sure in everything that you're posting, it doesn't need to be, you don't need to push it down anybody's throat, but you want to make sure that if you're, you know, writing a blog and you've got a call to action, it might be to join a Facebook group, and with that Facebook group, you know, you'll educate people more and you'll be offering your core offer in there. Make sense? And I think you get the point of this. You really want to build an editorial calendar that puts all your content into one place. It's strategic, it has a plan behind it, and at all times at the forefront of it, you are thinking, how would this contact get someone to eventually buy from me? And that's how content marketing will work, from going from one stage to another and bringing your customer through a customer value journey, strategically taking them from one step to another. So part 4, how do you monetize your content? Okay, there's various ways to monetize your content. It could be sponsored content, so sponsored blog posts and collaboration videos, content on YouTube. So, for example, if you can get 4,000 hours watched on YouTube and 1,000 subscribers, your content would then be sponsored for ads to come up, and bingo, you've just monetized it. Blog posts, it could be sponsored blog posts, you could be doing contributing blog posts, you could be writing blogs for third parties, which is going to increase your organic SEO, and also you can get paid for it. Okay. Collaboration videos, maybe you would be featured on someone's channel because you've got a following or you've got valuable information that their audience would want, and you'll do collaborations video and they might pay you to do it. Many of you, within your own rights, will be an influencer. People buy people. When you position yourself as an authority through content, which could be through speaking, writing blogs, being knowledgeable about your content and being visible for that, that's what gets you really being able to have your content being sold and being actually paid to use it. So monetization of content can mean many different things. It could also mean creating a lead magnet. I've done a workshop about this, so make sure you check it out on YouTube, and we're going to cover it again. Having a lead magnet, something that someone can sign up for, give you their email address, which now means that you are constantly being able to nurture them, will actually, giving them that valuable piece of information, you might decide that actually you're going to charge them for it. You might have an entry point offer, which is just a trial of what you do as your main offering, but it's chargeable at a really small fee, just so your audience can have a taster. But what have you done? You've monetized. Okay, so there's many different ways that you can monetize through sponsored content, through running ads as well. You could specifically run ads and build out a funnel. So with a funnel, you might build out an ad that says, buy my, come and rent my villas from Barbados from me. Find out more information, get your guide of what to do in Barbados for 7 days. You then might download that guide within 7 days. You might start getting email newsletters about all the different offers and being educated around Barbados. Then you might book a holiday and book a villa. But that all came from an ad. So your ad can also monetize your content by putting people into a funnel and putting them into a strategic process that takes them from one step to another step, which then results in a sale. So digitalization, digital marketing is all about a process. It's about walking your customer, your potential customer, through a process of one step to another intentionally until they close on a sale. And how you move them from one place to the next is through content marketing. So with all your content, you should be thinking about, how am I monetizing this? And in the beginning, it might be that you need leads. And if you need leads, think about, once you've got the leads, how will I monetize those leads? Have a plan. Don't just start aimlessly in the dark and think, I'm going to start this, I'm going to do this to get leads. After I've done that, I'll do this to get sales, and just not be sure. You need to be very sure about what your plan is, because that's actually what's going to get you ahead and it's going to help you win. So content marketing, how do we put together KPIs? How do we put together key performance indicators? Okay, and I really want you to remember this, really, really important. The matrix you track may differ depending on your goals. So get clear on those goals before you dive in. Have you started this business and maybe you're in work and you're saying, I need to get to X amount of money and then I'm going to leave work and then I can grow this business further? Is it has to replace the income that you're on now? Is it that you started a business and you're not even drawing a salary from it, so the goal is to make sure that you're making X amount? Is it that you're building a community, you're building a business, and you need to get 15,000 leads, because rules of marketing say 1% of those should convert, and once I've made this amount, or I've got this amount of customers, I can go on to the next stage and scale? Is it to validate your business and make sure there's a marketplace for it, and your customers believe in what you're doing, they understand, and they would buy from you? Have you validated your product offering? So really think about, what are your goals? Patricia has said, in regards to my EFT intro webinar on Eventbrite, I'm looking to charge a small amount, like 10 to 15 or 20 euros. Do you think this is a good idea to charge for my first event? What I would say, Patricia, in the first instance is what you want to do is you actually really want to provide value, and you want to be able to get people into your community and into your funnel, and start building an actual mailing list and build a community. Therefore, that you can then start charging them. I want you to think of your customers, like I said, a bit like marriage. So think about it. You might be on a platform waiting for your train. You might be in Starbucks and you might catch someone's eye. You look away, you think, no, we didn't just lock eyes. That might happen. You might meet them again. You'll think, oh my God, this is such coincidence. I'm meeting them again. There must be something here. You might get talking. You might exchange numbers. You might go on coffee. You might go on a string of dates. You might move in, you might get married. I'm not suggesting it's as long as the average relationship to get married, but you get my point. So when someone's come into your contact and they're interested in what you do want to give them a bit of a flavor for free. However, what you might do is do a webinar, which it is free, but what you do is that you upsell them. You upsell them to a paid one right at the end. I don't know if that makes sense. So right at the end of the free webinar, you might upsell them to a paid one. It's almost like it's a cliffhanger. To them to get more information, they've got to sign up and get the paid one, which will have even more content. So have a level that's free, give value, but obviously, you know, you want the entry point offer that you can get them to pay the 10-15 euros, and then on that call it might be that you upsell, or maybe you wait a while, because you'll feel like you don't just want to keep upselling to them. I don't know if that makes any sense. Or it could be that from that paid one you might have one-to-ones and you're going for a higher ticket item from that one-to-one and close the sale there. So just think about warming them up. Good, glad it made sense. So just remember to track the matrix, but understand what your goal is. And the metrics is what you're going to use to see if you are in stead and if what you're doing is working to get your goal. If you don't know what your goal is and you keep changing your goal, the matrix will make no sense. And the matrix in this digital world is one of your key golden nuggets of before the digital world came along. You could not measure, you could not do that. You were shooting in the dark. So use that to your advantage. So content marketing matrix to track, and some of you might be thinking, okay, what else can we track? So let's look at the different forms of content that there are and think about what the matrix go with it are. Okay, so let's start with blogging. I've just seen a quick chat. Sorry, yes, I'm looking to create weekly groups that focus on certain topics such as anxiety, stress, overwhelm, weight, and money. Great. Another little tip here that this will be useful for all of you and for you, Patricia. If you're going to do that, I would say that you make sure you use a CRM. So a CRM is your customer relations management system. So for some of you, that might be MailChimp. I'm a lover of Aweber or Active Campaign. It could be Infusionsoft if you're a top tier marketeer. We use it a lot for clients, but use a CRM that you can segment. I'll tell you why, Patricia, because if you're going to do a webinar is on anxiety, imagine if you could segment your audience and you know that all the people that signed up for anxiety sat in a list in your CRM that would just those register for anxiety. You would now know that all the people that register for that, they've got an interest in anxiety. Same with stress, same with overwhelm, same with weight and money. So content is also very useful if you understand how to segment it, because if you segment it, you can segment your audience, meaning you now have just segmented your audience into interest. So you might sell the person that's suffering from anxiety, you might send them different newsletters, different information, and sell them something different to maybe someone that's overweight. That person might sit in all three categories. Well, guess what? They just get the three pieces of communication. It now means that when you're communicating with your audience, your content is even more personal because you segmented it. So a CRM is a customer relation management system. So like I said, it's a MailChimp, it's a Aweber, it's an Active Campaign. It's something that collects email addresses and you can send newsletters out to, and you can send offers out to. So think about if you segment your audience, how much more powerful your content will be. Thanks, Debbie. Oh no, thanks, Deepak. I haven't got my glasses on, not Debbie, Deepak. And this is where content, the more you drill content down and make it personal, is the more you're going to connect with your audience. But this is something that you get used to. No problem, Patricia. Again, you need to make sure that you've got a strategy in place. So when these things come up, you can execute them. Otherwise, you kind of go into overwhelm with everything, thinking, have I got this? Have I got that? Oh my gosh, what about this? I forgot about that. I should really be doing this. And you keep going back and forth and giving yourself that anxiety. So that's why it's important to put together that, to educate yourself around all this stuff and write a strategy. So let's go back to KPIs and measuring metrics. So we've got the different content types. So let's look at blogging metrics. So with blogging metrics, what metrics are we going to look at? We're going to look at things like page views, the session, how long did someone spend reading this blog, the ranking of keywords, how highly ranked are the keywords in the blog that's written, the call to action performance, are people clicking the button on whether you want to take them to a website, a sales page, a like, share. Subscriptions, are people subscribing into emails and wanting to know more information? Imagine if you're writing blogs day in, day out and week in, week out, and you've hardly got no page views, there's hardly no sessions, none of the keywords are ranking in the blog, your call to action button's not even being clicked on, and no one's subscribing into your email opt-in list. Is it worth doing? Okay. So metrics are important. At the same time, metrics can tell you something. Imagine within that, if you had loads of page views, but no one signing up for the newsletter, you'd have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is it not converting? So the metrics will always give you a clue on what the problem is. Video metrics, how many subscriptions are people subscribing to your YouTube channel? Are you getting any likes, any comments? How many video views are there? If you're doing video and you're using YouTube, you really should be looking to get to the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watched hours, so you can monetize your channel. Again, you might be getting loads of people giving you video views, but no one's subscribing. You could be getting just 2 videos that get loads of views and the rest get none. That would tell you that the views you are getting for the videos, you should produce more content like that, which is going to land better and convert. So metrics are just really important. They tell you how well you're doing, in which areas, what needs to be improved. So you've got continuous growth happening in your business. Podcasts, iTunes ranking, within the podcast type, whether that's, Spotify, Anchor, whatever the case may be. Are people downloading, showing notes on the page, conversion, what's happening? Okay, so when we're looking at metrics, really look at the different content types. I'm actually just clicking back to go back to that. I'm so sorry, I've got this horrible loom. I've got this horrible loom video that keeps coming up. Right. Right, guys, sorry. All right, bear with me for 2 seconds. Let me share back screen again. Right, here we go. Let me share back screen because I want to go back through the content type, by the way. If it would allow me to. Right, something's crashed there on that page, so I'm not going to waste any time. But what you want to do with the content type is just look at the metrics. So whether you was a blog, a vlog, YouTube, a social media post, every single platform has got analytics and stats on it. So whether you was posting on LinkedIn, whether you was doing Twitter, whether you was doing Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, they all provide you with analytics. And my advice to you is that even if you are not looking at the analytics, because life gets in the way, make sure you're downloading them and saving them somewhere and you're scoring what you're doing. So if you are using Instagram to make people aware of you, for your awareness, you should be saving that in a analytics metrics that says awareness, and you might have all your Instagram downloads of the stats. So when you get a minute, you can look at each stage of what you're doing for your content and you can see how well it's working for you. Okay, I can't stress it enough. Content is really what's going to connect you to your audience and what's going to get them to warm to you. So what I want to do next, I just want to share with you, how you really put that strategic plan together. Content marketing is just a part of it, but content marketing is a key part of it because, like I said, it's really what's going to attract you to your customer, what's going to attract your customer to you. The more you learn about one another is the more you become more successful at it. If you have got any questions at this stage, please do put it in the chat and ask away in regards to your digital marketing, but mainly within content marketing. But any questions that you've got, please do make sure that you put it in the chat. Make sure, please, that you have subscribed to the YouTube channel. I'm getting all tongue-tied over here as well, to make sure that, you are getting all of our free content, and we do give value here. I do. So the last time we saw each other, Patricia, we have a membership site called Empower, and Empower is a 12-week program in a membership site that you get access to for a year that really takes you through understanding, okay, who is my customer? Doing market research, understanding all the different marketing strategies, looking at how to monetize, how to get into 6-7 figures. And it takes you through a series of steps, putting out worksheets and doing homework to really make sure that at the end of it, you've built out a strategic plan. Because without that strategic plan, like I said, you're just always doing things. So week 1 is a foundation, which just, prepares you for what's ahead and what you've got to do, because it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Have you ever had a plan that you put together and you just feel like, yes, that's it, that's how I'm going to get there, without kind of thinking, oh, where do I need to start? Let me do this. And then once you've finished it, you think, okay, so what's next? And that's what I call walking in the dark. So the foundation really prepares you. Putting together a revenue growth plan, like really looking at how do you want to grow, what do you want to make, looking at your goals, because everything is going to be wrapped around that within your plan. Looking at your core offer, looking at what are you offering to the marketplace, what are your products and services that you're offering, and having a makeover of that, because you're really going to look at, does that suit my audience? Does that suit and fall into the customer value journey they're going to go in? Having a sales roadmap, like mapping out exactly what it is that you want your prospects and customers to go from one step to another. Looking at marketing strategies, like really understanding all the digital marketing strategies in great depth, so even you can see, why would I use them all? But these are the ones that are going to work best for me. And maybe as I'll grow, we'll introduce X. By understanding all the different marketing strategies is going to give you more clarity on what marketing strategies are going to work for you. And the magic number 3, never more than 3. Really thinking about financial freedom, really looking at what you've done so far and think, how do I go from 0? How do I go from 1,000, 10,000 to really get to 6 figures? Or how do I get to 50,000, 100,000 to really get to 7 figures? How do I do that? Planning something, getting predictable sales and grow it. Then looking at your business system, how do I digitalize my business so resources aren't draining me? Looking at your digital processes and technology and really figuring out, how do I automate this to make sure you've got the awareness, the leads, the traffic, which is the awareness, the leads, converting that into sales, and what is my profit margin from that? Really fine-tuning the procedure and the automation, really looking at what tools and tactics am I going to use to achieve this? What technology will I use to achieve this? What skills do I really need to learn, or really do I need to get in? How do I delegate tasks and manage and make sure things are being done efficiently? How do I score this whole strategy plan? So I'm always looking at how to make it better and spot where the holes are. And just then having a growth plan that you can scale, because you now know exactly how you're going to get from 0 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1 million, whatever the case may be. But it's about having a plan that's very, very, very predictable. Okay. Cynthia said, thanks a lot for this class. You are most welcome, Cynthia. Most welcome. So this is how Empower really works. So you also get a private community where you get to ask questions. There's also a 3-day boot camp for many of you that at the beginning of your journey are really figuring out how to scale. There's also a boot camp that you get with this that really gets you to look at who is your target audience and take you through a really deep drill on who your audience is, who your market is, your market research, who are you marketing to, looking at what your product is, looking at how not to leave money on the table, make sure you're maximizing all profits, and actually look at examples of funnels. So you get that automatically free with it. The 3-day boot camp is absolutely invaluable. You also get, bonuses like how to build your 7-figure digital business using a 7-step system, which is all about mindset, as well as reading, the 5 core principles of a successful entrepreneur, just making sure that your mind is in the right place. And also just looking at digitalization and e-commerce differently. What's the checklist that makes a successful e-commerce business? So it's just somewhere where you don't have to wander off to another community or buy something else. Each lesson will include a summary playbook to really give you actionable steps during your 12-week program. So that's how it works. There's so much value that you get out of it. It's unreal, but the work's on you. You've got to work at the pace of the video. It's self-taught, but you will get support through a Facebook group. You will get support by jumping on monthly calls to me where you can ask all the questions that you want. And we will pair you up with accountability partners. There'll be times I'll even do live sessions. If I've got events on, you'll be able to come to them without being charged any extra. So glad that you enjoyed the session. For those of you that are interested in power, let me give you a link. We have got a scholarship where we're giving $1,000 off. You've got 3 days, and I don't do this very often. If any of you are in the community or in our email list, you don't really see it that often. We're letting an influx of people in. We make sure that everybody's going, they're comfortable, they're getting their work done, they're on the right track. And then we tend to open the gates again. So it is the same program we put together on the open market, going to places like Canada and America that tend to be cheaper than the UK. It's at least starting $3,500 for something of this level of strategy. We're talking about strategies that big corporations use that we're not known about, and it's being put in a very simple manner for you to be able to consume. Plus, you're getting all the worksheets that leaves you with a strategic plan. So I'm going to put the link in the chat for you now, but you've got 3 days. It's a no-brainer. No problem, Deepak. It really is. And like I said, Women in Digital Business, it's all about value.